prepare to take off on a sonic journey that traverses time and space, heading towards the lesser explored corners of the Rush universe. In the next few seconds, images and sounds will merge to awaken your curiosity and sharpen your ears. This is Fly By Night, an album that pulsates with the energy of a band on the rise, ready to conquer the world. Hello, rock enthusiasts. Welcome to Progressive Rock and Aesthetic Experience, your channel for musical exploration, where we unravel the mysteries and celebrate the genius behind the greatest rock classics. I'm Jorge Lucio FDA Campos, your guide on this sonic odyssey. Today we're embarking on a journey to rediscover a Rush album that often remains in the shadow of giants like 21-2 and Moving Pictures, the album Fly By Night. Released in 1975, this record isn't just a collection of songs, but a portal to a universe of fantasy and freedom, driven by the youthful energy of a band hungry for success. Fly By Night is not just an album, it's a crucial moment in Rush's history. It marked the arrival of a new drummer and lyricist who would forever change the band's sound and identity, the legendary Neil Peart. With his arrival, Rush ascended to new heights of musical complexity and lyrical depth, laying the foundation for their legacy in progressive rock. But does Fly By Night deserve to be relegated to the background, overshadowed by its more acclaimed successors? Or does it hide treasures that casual fans are missing, melodies and messages that continue to resonate through the decades? To understand the true importance of Fly By Night, we need to take a brief trip back in time to the vibrant Toronto of 1968. It's in this setting that Alex Lifeson, Jeff Jones, and John Rutsey form a band with the ambition to conquer the world. Little did they know they were about to create one of the biggest names in progressive rock. Shortly thereafter, Jeff Jones gives way to Geddy Lee, sealing the fate of the lineup that would record Rush's debut album released in 1974. This first work, self-titled, revealed a promising band, immersed in the influences of British hard rock, with a robust sound and direct lyrics. It was a Rush still in search of its identity, but already demonstrating undeniable potential. However, the debut album, although full of energy, did not achieve the resounding success that the band craved. And as if that weren't enough, drummer John Rutsey, for health reasons and artistic differences, decides to forge a new path, opening a void in Rush's formation. A void that would be filled by a young visionary, ready to set the world on fire with his passion for music and words. It was a crossroads moment for Rush, an inflection point that would define the band's future. And it was in this scenario of uncertainty that a new chapter began to be written, with the arrival of a man who would become a legend. And it's precisely at this crucial point in Rush's history that we come across the central question of this video. Are we giving due credit to all of the band's albums? Are we not limiting ourselves to radio hits and established classics, neglecting works that deserve to be rediscovered? Many Rush fans, and perhaps you are one of them, focus on the most famous albums, those that marked an era and defined the band's sound. Records like 21-12, with its epic futuristic saga, Moving Pictures, with its surgical precision, and Permanent Waves, with its innovative sound, occupy a special place in our hearts and in our playlists. But what happens to the albums that haven't received as much attention? Do they deserve to be relegated to oblivion? Are there no hidden treasures waiting to be discovered? Are we not missing the opportunity to appreciate Rush's genius in its entirety? It's to answer these questions that we're going to dive headfirst into Fly By Night, and we're going to analyze its songs, explore its lyrics, and unravel its secrets. We're going to discover what makes it so special and why it deserves a prominent place in your collection. And in doing so, we're going to open our ears and minds to other forgotten Rush albums, ready to be rediscovered and appreciated in all their glory. Prepare yourselves because our journey is just beginning. Fasten your seatbelts and adjust your headphones because we're going to take off on an unforgettable musical adventure. With the departure of John Rutsey, Rush found themselves facing a crucial dilemma: how to find a suitable replacement, capable of filling the void left by the original drummer and propelling the band towards new horizons. The answer came in the form of Neil Elwood Peart, a young musician with a voracious passion for drums, a mind eager for knowledge, and the soul of a poet. The arrival of Neil Peart to Rush transcended the mere substitution of a member. It was a true metamorphosis, a transformation that redefined the band's sound, identity, and trajectory. Peart was not only a virtuoso drummer, but also a talented lyricist, a deep thinker, and a visionary with an enviable cultural background. Peart's influences were vast and eclectic, ranging from the fantasy literature of J.R.R. Tolkien to the philosophical ideas of Ayn Rand. He brought to Rush's lyrics complex and profound themes, such as the quest for individual freedom, the importance of reason, and the struggle against oppression. His skill as a drummer also revolutionized Rush's sound, elevating it to a new level of complexity and sophistication. Peart introduced intricate rhythms, elaborate fills, and pinpoint precision, creating a unique and unmistakable style that would become his trademark. The alchemy between Peart's impeccable technique, Geddy Lee's powerful vocals and melodic bass, and Alex Lifeson's explosive guitar riffs generated a singular sound that fused hard rock with progressive rock in an innovative way. Rush had found its voice, its identity, its purpose. To illustrate this metamorphosis clearly and impactfully, one only needs to compare Rush's debut album with Fly By Night. While the former sounded like a promising band still searching for its place in the sun, the latter radiated confidence, audacity, and a clear vision of the future. The debut album, with its simple lyrics and direct sound, was a reflection of hard rock influences. Fly By Night, on the other hand, was an explosion of creativity, with complex lyrics, intricate melodies, and an epic atmosphere. The difference is striking, undeniable, and demonstrates the overwhelming impact of Neil Peart's arrival to Rush. With Peart on board, Rush not only became a better band, but completely reinvented themselves, transforming into an unstoppable force in the world of rock. Now that we understand the importance of Neil Peart's arrival to Rush, let's dive headfirst into Fly By Night and analyze two songs that represent the essence of this transformative album, Anthem and By Tor and the Snow Dog. The opening track of Fly By Night, Anthem, is a true manifesto, a cry for freedom that echoes through the decades. With an explosive guitar riff, a pulsating drum beat, and Geddy Lee's unmistakable voice, the song grabs you by the collar and drags you into a universe of individualism and self-affirmation. Neil Peart's lyrics, as previously mentioned, were deeply influenced by the philosophy of Ayn Rand, a Russian writer who defended reason, individualism, and capitalism as the pillars of a free and prosperous society. Anthem is an ode to these values, a celebration of the human capacity to think for oneself and to follow one's own principles, even if it means facing the opposition of the majority. Peart weaves verses that challenge conformism and blind obedience, encouraging the listener to question authorities and seek the truth on their own. The message is clear. Each individual is responsible for their own destiny and has the right to tread their own path, without bowing to social pressures. But Anthem is not just a philosophical treatise set to music. The song also stands out for its musical complexity and sophistication. The unexpected tempo changes, Alex Lifeson's virtuous guitar solos, and Geddy Lee's impeccable vocal performance demonstrate the talent and passion that Rush poured into their art. The chorus of Anthem, with its cry of, "I know I'm right, because I'm right when I know," is a true anthem of self-confidence and belief in oneself. It is a message that resonates strongly to this day, inspiring people of all ages to pursue their dreams and fight for their ideals. Anthem is not just a song, it's a declaration of principles, an invitation to rebellion, and a celebration of individuality. It's one of Rush's most important songs and a perfect example of the impact of Neil Peart's arrival to the band. If Anthem is a hymn to individuality, By Tor and the Snow Dog is an epic odyssey that transports the listener to a world of fantasy and adventure. With its almost 9 minutes in length, this progressive suite is one of Fly By Night's most ambitious and innovative compositions. The story behind the song is as curious as the composition itself. Neil Peart was inspired by two of the band's roadies, nicknamed By Tor and Snow Dog, to create a mythological battle between good and evil. By Tor, the warrior of light, faces the snow dog, the emissary of darkness, in a fight that will decide the fate of the universe. The music is divided into several sections, each with its own atmosphere and musicality. At the Tobes of Hades presents a heavy and sinister riff, evoking the darkness and terror of the kingdom of Hades. Across the Styx transports us to a mystical river, with soft and atmospheric melodies. The Of the Battle section portrays the epic confrontation between Bytor and the Snow Dog, with fast riffs, sudden tempo changes, and virtuous guitar solos that simulate the intensity of the battle. And finally, Epilogue offers a triumphant conclusion, with inspiring melodies and lyrics that celebrate the victory of good over evil. What makes Bytor and the Snow Dog so special is its ability to tell a complex and engaging story through music. Each section of the music evokes a vivid image in the listener's mind, transporting them to a world of fantasy and adventure. The song also demonstrates Rush's ability to merge elements of hard rock with progressive rock in an innovative way. Heavy riffs and powerful drums coexist with intricate melodies and complex instrumental passages, creating a unique and unmistakable sound. Bytor and the Snow Dog is a testament to Rush's ambition and creativity, and demonstrates how far the band had come in such a short time. It is a song that continues to inspire musicians and delight fans all over the world. If Anthem is a manifesto, Bytor and the Snow Dog is an epic fantasy. Together, these two songs represent the essence of Fly By Night, an album that celebrates freedom, individuality, and the power of imagination. After this deep dive into two of Fly By Night's most emblematic tracks, it's time to take stock and analyze the album's strengths and weaknesses as a whole. What makes this record so special, and what could have been better? Among the strengths of Fly By Night, the first that comes to mind is the youthful energy and passion that emanate from every note. The excitement of a band at the height of creativity, experimenting with new sounds and challenging the limits of rock, is palpable. Another undeniable strength is the perfect symbiosis between hard rock and progressive rock. Fly By Night balances weight and melody, aggression and sophistication, creating a sound that appeals to fans of both powerful riffs and complex harmonies. Furthermore, we cannot fail to mention the evolution of Neil Peart's lyrics. Although they have not yet reached the depth and complexity of his later works, the lyrics of Fly By Night already demonstrate a maturation in relation to the debut album, addressing themes such as freedom, individuality, and the power of imagination with intelligence and sensitivity. However, Fly By Night also has its weaknesses. For some listeners, the album's production may sound a bit dated. Recorded with limited resources, the sound may seem a bit muffled and lacking in definition, especially compared to Rush's later works. In addition, it is undeniable that the band was still in the process of maturing. Some songs may sound a little less inspired than others, and sonic experimentation, while commendable, does not always result in entirely satisfactory results. But ultimately, these small flaws do not diminish the value of Fly By Night. On to the contrary, they make it even more interesting, revealing an honest and authentic portrait of a band in full transformation. It is an album that celebrates youth, passion, and boldness, and that continues to inspire musicians and enchant fans all over the world. In short, Fly By Night is an essential album for any Rush fan. It is a record that captures the essence of the band at a crucial moment in their history, and that demonstrates the power of music to transport us to other worlds and inspire us to be better. But the journey through Rush's discography doesn't end with Fly By Night. In fact, this album serves as a portal to an even greater universe of songs and ideas, a universe full of neglected masterpieces and hidden gems. Just as Fly By Night is often overshadowed by its more popular successors, other Rush albums also suffer from a lack of recognition. Records like Caress of Steel, Hold Your Fire, and Test for Echo, for various reasons, ended up being relegated to the background, forgotten by most fans. The question that arises is, do these albums really deserve this fate? Are we not committing an injustice by ignoring them? Are we not missing the opportunity to appreciate Rush's genius in its entirety? To answer these questions, let's take a closer look at two albums that epitomize the concept of forgotten album in Rush's discography: Caress of Steel and Hold Your Fire. Released in September 1975, just 6 months after Fly By Night, Caress of Steel is for many the black sheep of the Rush family. An experimental, ambitious, and, for some, somewhat pretentious album that divided opinions and marked a moment of turbulence in the band's career. After the moderate success of Fly By Night, Rush decided to take a risk and bet on an even more progressive sound, with long, complex songs full of tempo changes. The result was an album that challenged the expectations of the record label and the fans, and that ended up being a commercial failure. The reviews were harsh, pointing to the precarious production, the confusing lyrics, and the album's lack of focus. Many considered Caress of Steel a misstep in Rush's career, an unnecessary detour from the path to success. However, behind this facade of failure, Caress of Steel hides a series of qualities that make it a fascinating album and worthy of being rediscovered. Boldness and experimentation are trademarks of this record, which demonstrates Rush's courage to challenge conventions and explore new sounds. Songs like The Necromancer and The Fountain of Lamneth are true odes to progressive rock, with intricate melodies, complex instrumental passages, and lyrics that evoke worlds of fantasy and adventure. They are compositions that demonstrate Rush's talent and ambition in its purest form. Furthermore, Caress of Steel has a dark and melancholic atmosphere that differentiates it from Rush's other albums. It is a record that conveys a sense of introspection and melancholy, which resonates with those who feel marginalized and misunderstood. Despite its flaws, Caress of Steel is an essential album to understand Rush's evolution. It was on this that the band began to tread the path that would lead them to success, experimenting with new sounds and challenging the audience's expectations. Therefore, if you are a Rush fan who has never given Caress of Steel a chance, I challenge you to listen to it with an open mind and a receptive heart. You may be surprised by what you find. Moving forward a few years, we arrive in 1987, the year of the release of Hold Your Fire, an album that divides opinions among Rush fans. Some consider it an underrated masterpiece, while others criticize it for its overly polished and commercial sound. Released in the full synth era, Hold Your Fire features a sound marked by the heavy use of keyboards and electronic effects. For many fans, this sonic choice detracted from Rush's original sound, making it more accessible to the general public, but less authentic and innovative. Reviews pointed to the album's lack of weight and aggression, the overly saccharine melodies, and the less inspired lyrics than in previous works. Many considered Hold Your Fire a misstep in Rush's career, a frustrated attempt to achieve commercial success. However, just like Caress of Steel, Hold Your Fire hides a series of qualities that deserve to be appreciated. First, the album features catchy melodies and complex harmonies that stick in your head and invite you to sing along. Songs like Force 10, with its irresistible riff and its lyrics celebrating the power of collaboration, and Time Stands Still, with its melancholic melody and its reflection on the passage of time, are true Rush anthems that deserve to be remembered and celebrated. Furthermore, Hold Your Fire demonstrates Rush's ability to evolve and reinvent themselves, exploring new sounds and experimenting with different musical styles. The use of synthesizers and electronic effects may have displeased some fans, but it also allowed the band to expand their horizons and create a unique and innovative sound. The lyrics of Hold Your Fire, although less epic and grandiose than in previous works, address important themes such as the importance of communication, the search for freedom, and the need to live in the present. They are messages that resonate strongly to this day and invite us to reflect on the world around us. Therefore, if you are a Rush fan who turns up your nose at Hold Your Fire, I invite you to listen to it with an open mind and a receptive heart. Put aside your preconceptions and allow yourself to appreciate the beauty and complexity of this underrated album. After this analysis of Caress of Steel and Hold Your Fire, it becomes clear that the concept of forgotten album is complex and multifaceted. Not always an album that has not achieved commercial success or has received negative reviews deserves to be relegated to oblivion. Often these records hide precious gems that need to be rediscovered and appreciated. But why? Is it so important to give these underrated albums a chance? Why should we strive to listen to records that, at first glance, do not seem so appealing? First, because all albums, regardless of their success or failure, represent a moment in a band's history. They reflect their influences, their experiences, their emotions, and their ambitions. By ignoring these records, we are ignoring part of the band's story and missing the opportunity to understand their evolution and development. Second, because by exploring less popular albums, we can discover songs and ideas that surprise and excite us. We can find songs that touch our soul, melodies that give us goosebumps, and lyrics that make us reflect on life. These discoveries can enrich our musical experience and connect us with the band in a deeper and more meaningful way. Third, because by reevaluating less popular albums, we are challenging our own prejudices and opening our minds to new perspectives. We are learning to listen to music with a more critical eye and to appreciate different styles and sounds. Often we cling to our favorite albums and refuse to give a chance to records that do not fit into our tastes. But by doing so, we are limiting ourselves and missing the opportunity to expand our musical horizons. By reevaluating less popular albums, we are allowing ourselves to be surprised, challenged, and transformed by music. We are opening ourselves to new experiences and connecting with art in a deeper and more meaningful way. In addition, by giving less popular albums a chance, we are honoring the work and dedication of the musicians. We are showing that we value their art and that we are willing to explore all facets of their creativity. It is important to remember that each album represents an immense effort on the part of the artists, who dedicate time, energy, and passion to create something that can touch people's hearts. By ignoring these efforts, we are devaluing the work of the musicians and losing the opportunity to connect with their art. And finally, by reevaluating less popular albums, we are contributing to the construction of a richer and more diverse musical culture. We are encouraging experimentation, innovation, and the breaking of paradigms. We are showing that music does not always have to be perfect or commercial to be valuable. After all, what defines a good album? Is it one that pleases everyone? Is it one that sells millions of copies? Or is it one that touches us deeply and makes us feel something special? The answer to this question is subjective and personal. Each of us has our own criteria for judging the quality of an album. But the important thing is that we are open to new experiences and that we do not limit ourselves to our predefined tastes. By giving less popular albums a chance, we are allowing ourselves to be surprised, challenged, and transformed by music. We are connecting with art in a deeper and more meaningful way, and we are contributing to the construction of a richer, more diverse and vibrant musical culture. By this point, the impact of Neil Peart and Fly By Night on Rush's sound and identity should be clear. But how did this album influence the band's later works? Which elements of Fly By Night can be found on albums like 21-2, A Farewell to Kings, and Moving Pictures? The answer to these questions lies in the boldness and experimentation that marked Fly By Night. It was on this album that Rush began to tread the path of progressive rock, with long, complex songs full of tempo changes. This influence can be heard on 21-12, with its epic suite that occupies the entire A-side of the album. Just like By Tor and the Snowdog, 21-12 tells a fantastic story through music, with intricate melodies, virtuoso instrumental passages, and lyrics that evoke a futuristic and dystopian world. The influence can also be felt on A Farewell to Kings, with its more sophisticated sound and its lyrics that address themes such as freedom, oppression, and the pursuit of wisdom. Songs like Xanadu and Cygnus X1 demonstrate Rush's ability to create magical atmospheres and transport the listener to other worlds. And even on Moving Pictures, a more concise and direct album, we can find elements of Fly By Night. The energy and passion that marked the 1975 album can be heard in songs like Tom Sawyer and Red Barchetta, which continue to excite fans all over the world. The truth is that Fly By Night laid the seeds for Rush's future success. It was on this album that the band found its voice and began to tread the path that would lead them to stardom. And even though other albums have received more attention and acclaim, Fly By Night remains a fundamental piece in the puzzle of Rush's discography. It is an album that deserves to be remembered, celebrated, and appreciated for its historical importance, its artistic boldness, and its ability to inspire and move. But the legacy of Fly By Night is not limited to its musical influence and its historical importance. For many fans, this album represents something much more personal and meaningful. And for all fans, Fly By Night is an album that deserves to be remembered and celebrated for its beauty, its complexity, and its ability to touch people's hearts. To illustrate this personal meaning, we invited some Rush fans to share their stories and opinions about Fly By Night. Fan number 1 said, "Fly By Night was the first Rush album I heard. I was 14 years old and a friend lent me the record. I was completely fascinated by the band's sound and Neil Peart's lyrics. This album changed my life." Fan number 2 said, "Fly By Night reminds me of my teenage years. I listened to this record nonstop with my friends. It was the soundtrack to our adventures and our dreams." Fan number 3 said, "Fly By Night is an album that celebrates friendship and passion for music. Whenever I listen to this record, I feel connected to the band and to all Rush fans." These testimonials demonstrate the power of music to connect us with other people, to transport us to other worlds, and to inspire us to be better. And it is this power that makes Fly By Night such a special and meaningful album for so many fans around the world. We've reached the end of our journey through the universe of Fly By Night and the lesser explored corners of Rush's discography. I hope this analysis has awakened in you a new appreciation for this underrated album, and that it has inspired you to give a chance to other records that deserve to be rediscovered. Throughout this video, we explored the importance of Neil Peart's arrival to Rush, analyzed the most emblematic songs of Fly By Night, discussed the concept of forgotten album, and reflected on the legacy of this record for fans and for the history of music. And the conclusion we have reached is clear. Fly By Night is an album that deserves to be remembered, celebrated, and appreciated for its beauty, its complexity, and its ability to touch people's hearts. It is an album that demonstrates Rush's boldness, creativity, and passion in its purest form. It is a record that celebrates freedom, individuality, and the power of imagination. And above all, it is an album that reminds us that music has the power to connect us with other people, to transport us to other worlds, and to inspire us to be better. Therefore, I invite you to listen to Fly By Night. I have prepared a video on the same topic that may be very interesting to you. The link is here on the end screen.